Alright, so I thought I would go over some of the parts I got for this Gameboy Zero that I've been working on. As you can see, I got this screen. It's that same backup screen that everyone uses, and I have the Pi sitting there. And as you can see, also Targus USB hub, the same one from the tutorial. I got a Linksys, I believe, wireless module in there, and I got the little rinky-dink keyboard. It's alright, I guess. I ended up soldering a little lead to the composite output, and I used this little adapter I had made. It's just two alligator clips that goes to a RCA type plug. Makes it kind of convenient to click things in here and there. So I copied that install onto that SD card I showed in the previous part, but I've misplaced it somewhere. Let's see. Where'd you go, you little bastard? Oh shoot, that'd be cool. Oh, there we go. Alright, so I won't be using the one I'm actually keeping, because I just wanted to do a test install and also demonstrate, so we'll see how this goes. I got a adapter here that I also made for kind of a temporary usage. It's a cable, just a junky USB cable that I had that I just twisted together for now. You can't really see that. Okay, there you go. Just a little teeny thing. I just connected the power leads together to the barrel jack that came with that little camera. It's not permanent or anything, it's just a test, so I'll plug that into the output here as I drop everything on the floor. Alright, and then to plug in the Raspberry Pi here, that should start to boot up. A lot of people will try out these screens and they'll power it, but they don't realize that it will only turn on when it has a signal. So it's not going to turn on the panel unless you have a video signal to it. So if you're not getting video output, I would probably check your solder connections, make sure you've got it the right way around. I believe the square solder point is the negative, so if you make sure you run it that way. Actually, I might be mistaken. Yeah, just look on the thing, double check that your the connector is right. The RCA plug, the pin itself on the inside will be positive, and the shield outside piece will be negative. But as you can see, it's booting into Retropie. It takes quite a while. I'm kind of surprised no one has whittled that down a little bit, but that could be an exercise for another day, I suppose. I'm going to be the only one playing with it, so it's not like I'm that concerned about it. But, yes, so it's going to ask you to set up your controls. For now, I'm just going to use this little keyboard. It wants you to hold down the key, and then once you learn, you could do up, down, left, right, start, select, A, B, X, Y, right, left, and then just hold down a key to skip over the ones that you don't need. Maybe you're not planning on, the Gameboy Zero isn't that great at playing, some of the newer 3D well, newer 3D systems like a N64 or whatever anyways, so you probably won't need the triggers. I mean, you might be lucky and, you know, the less taxing PlayStation games will work fine, but anyways, it should get you to the screen there. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. It's not going to be the best quality anyways because I got this light bearing down, but as you can see, it's really teeny. It's almost illegible, especially in the menus. From what I can tell, the Retropie, the emulation station, despite the settings you put in, it scales down its interface a lot. So I tried forcing the resolution in the video, or not in the video, in the settings, and you know, it ended up scaling it like this, and then OpenGL was still set at whatever resolution it thought the screen was. So that might take a little bit more tinkering if you want it to be legible. I did notice that some of the themes in there, if you get Wi-Fi working, you can download them, and there is a Modern Mini or something Mini, and if you look for that one, it actually makes the menus legible, because if you look, I mean, yeah, that's quite the bust there, especially if you get into things. But yeah, there you go. So there's that part of it. At least the screen is working. I'm actually considering finding a digital screen to see if I can improve that a little bit. It's kind of sad actually, because when you go in like the on-screen settings and stuff, you can see where it it'll show like the AV or whatever. Here, I'll show you. Where's the little thing there? You know, you can really tell that like the little screen there is crisp, and I mean when you see the AV thing, it's like pixel perfect, and then you get the composite output and it's like meh. But anyways, so why don't we go through some of the other parts that are going to go into this. I'll zoom in a little bit further so that I can kind of show them off here. Probably end up with a lot of extra material that you don't really need, but we have a mono amplifier. It's the Adafruit 2.5 watt one. Basically, you'll only likely use this to power your external speaker, because assuming we're lucky, we'll get enough audio out for headphones, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. But there you go, a little amplifier. There's a couple eBay special ones that also work. I'm not familiar with them, but there's tons of them. We also have this little multi-pack. It's another eBay special headphone jack thing. I believe these ones, when you insert the headphones, it does disconnect the other output, so you will only get one at a time. I don't know what I'll do with the extra colors, but you get two black ones in case you bodge the first one, I suppose, or you happen to be lucky to have a case that matches one of those. So on to the next, and what makes sense. You got that same thing, the Adafruit speaker. Everyone's familiar with that one. It's a teeny little thing. It's probably not the best quality, and I might look for something a little better, especially if I find out I have some more space. So I'm going to hold out on gluing that into the case. As for these, some people won't need them if you're using a donor case, but these are the little volume knobs. You get 5 of them, same thing, you mess them up, or you know, you have a buddy, whatever, sell them. On to the next, in some sort of logical sense. We have the board here. It's the Common Ground, I believe, Gameboy Zero PCB. You know, it's got extra pads for the X and Y buttons, as well as I believe outputs or inputs and outputs for the left and right buttons, so you can wire those without having to do some extra stuff. That was another kind of eBay special. It's the Atomic Market. Let's see. I got these. These were 3D printed by Gourmet, I believe. This was from the Pseudomod website, and he gave me some spares, so if you end up cracking one of those in half or something, you know, feel free to experiment at least twice at most, I guess. I got this. I'm just going to use one of these cheapy things, cut a piece off of it for the power strip, so I wasn't too concerned about buying a separate board for that. It's just going to be hidden away anyways. I got these as spares. I haven't got the case yet, but the cases you buy on eBay, you know, you only get one set. You get the A and B, so it's nice to have, you know, well, you're gonna need one set, and it's nice to have a couple spares for these two anyways. But yeah, that's another, you know, this Atomic Market eBay special there. This is the standard battery. Might not be identical to the one that Adafruit sells, but it's the same PK cell, whatever, you know, they get it from somewhere, and obviously the eBay people do as well, so there's that. Here's the bezel that was on that LCD screen. I saved it. You know, some people cut these out. If you're really careful, you can create a perfect bezel for your screen and then not have to order a separate one. That's another one of those items that's on the way, but taking a while because of the season and whatnot. Let's see here. We have the charger board here. This is also a common. This is the Adafruit 1000C. You can look up the wiring and stuff. I believe it's enable and ground if you tie together or turns off, something like that. I'll have to double check, but I'm just showing these parts to kind of give you an idea what's going on for now. This USB isn't soldered in, it's just sitting in it to keep it with it, but I will likely not use that for this board itself, but possibly breaking it out into the battery bay or something. So there's that. And then on to the next. I have a little sound card, which is this Turtle Beach Micro 2 dinghy that I had a couple laying around. I haven't tried it out yet, but it is a very common, I forget the brand here, CM something or other. It's made by, shoot, I forget the name of the company, but everyone uses them. It's like just off the shelf sort of, oh, I want a USB to sell type part. Let's see here. These I don't know if I'll use or not. You know, it's just the eBay special 100 pack or 25 pack or whatever it was of switches. They're a little small, so you know, maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. They aren't quite as nice as the original. You're not going to get that satisfying clicky feeling when you turn it on. But what can you do if it's what you got, and then you go from there. Let's see what else I got in here. Same with these, you know, clicky tactile buttons. They're pretty much junk too. They're throwaway, but you know, you use them for right and left buttons, or find something nicer, I suppose, or you can hide them away underneath your fancier button covers and clean it up, whatever. There's a lot of companies that make these. This is an Adafruit one. It's a breakout board for a mini USB, micro USB, micro B, yeah. Anyways, yeah, a lot of people shave these down and put them on the output of where the power cord would usually go on the Gameboy, which in that case you would have a nice little charger port. I'm probably not going to do that because I want to keep the outside looking 100% stock, but we'll see how easy it ends up being. Now, this is an extension cord for the battery. This is kind of just a convenience thing. It's not 100% necessary, but it gives me the option to put the battery wherever I need it. And when we're short on space, you pretty much need to do what you need to do, so there's that. These are a couple ones I'm not sure if I will end up using for anything. Before I had found the 4-button PC board, I ordered one of these Kitsch Bent boards that have the 2 buttons, And then pretty much right after I bought these, I found the other one on eBay. So these are really nicely made, but it's kind of a shame I'm not using it. But they actually sell the 4-button version now as well, and you can just go right for that one. In fact, they have fancy ones too with a microchip on board, so you can save on wires and stuff. Here's another thing I probably won't use, but it's an option. This is one of those filters for you can use actually a GPIO pin on the Pi Zero and have your audio output from there, and this will filter it and kind of make it a little bit cleaner. But like I showed before, I have a sound card that I'm going to try out, and I might not need that. And then here is another breakout board. This is the older style sort of different plug. Sorry, I haven't. Yes, I don't really have these kind of cables are not as common anymore. It's got the weird little dented angles and stuff. It's not the cell phone style anymore. It's like a like a digital camera type of plug or something. But we'll see. Stuff that's handy, I guess, if you end up needing it for something. This junk, whatever. I got a few extra buttons that I might use. These are just some press buttons that they don't make any clicky sounds or anything, but the problem I have with these is that I'd have to find a way to recess these in the case so that they don't stick out and show that. Yes, because they got these little bolts to hold it in place, and I guarantee you no one who would put those on their case is thinking about aesthetics. So there's that. And I wasn't sure what I want to do for spare buttons that I won't necessarily need. This is a cheapy little multi-direction keypad. Very likely I won't use this, but if I get one of those moments where I'm like, why not give it a try, you got basically 4 different direction key presses and then a click on the inside. So for example, if you were using this composite keyboard, you could have the click be the center button, the composite screen, sorry. The click could be the center button, and then the left and right could be these two, and then you could possibly put the up and down as use them for your hotkeys. So I was immediately thinking start and select is the default escape from game hotkey set, and certain games like for Game Boy, The Legend of Zelda, if you do A, B, select, and start, that is how you force save your game and bring up a menu. So, it might be handy to have an extra set of buttons, or a button perhaps, somewhere that you can use for your hotkeys and stuff. And then, yeah, I think that's about it for parts. It's nice to have, you can buy like a cheap phone cable, or like if you have cables around, USB cables are already good gauge for it. You just yank the case off and you get like 3 feet of 4 different colors of wire or whatever, and then you're good to go as far as wire is concerned. But yeah, so I believe I've pretty much covered most of the stuff. I did think about using this actually. This is a 32U4, Mega 32U4. If you Google that, it's actually a USB human interface device capable little board, and you can wire your controls to this, and it'll show up to your Raspberry Pi as like a keyboard or a mouse or whatever. The other method that a lot of people use is to wire your buttons directly to the GPIO, in which case you would not need one of those, but it's also not quite as versatile. You're kind of restricted to the driver they use for that, and it'd be nice possibly for things like ScumVM to be able to simulate a mouse for older DOS software, or anything that's expecting a mouse, the user interface or whatever. So hopefully you found that useful. It's probably a very long-winded video, but I kind of wanted to cover everything. Oh, and one last little thing I forgot about. A bunch of eBay little things. You can solder these into your case and whatever, and Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, whatever you want. Just cram it in there, and depending on if you have the space or not. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and all that garbage. Hopefully pretty soon I'll have an update with some actual progress in putting it together. So we'll see you then. Bye.